Some dramatic pictures of the nation's finance minister not just being kicked on the streets but stripped and chased down the stream in Kathmandu. We will get you all those pictures. There's also closer home, the drama around the vice presidential elections. And in the next 40-45 minutes, we should have the results. We'll go across to our guests in a bit and also our reporters to get the details on who's got their, not just the numbers in place, but who's able to perhaps break ranks from the other side. Is it the NDA or is it the India bloc? But first up, big development that's come from Doha. There's been a series of explosions, and even as we start this edition of The Right Stand, we are getting this update where the Israeli Defense Forces have claimed that the Hamas's chief negotiator has been neutralized, and they have said, Al Arabia English also confirming, that indicates Hamas's chief negotiator Khalil al-Hayya has been killed in an Israeli strike in Doha in Qatar. There have been a series of explosions, and the Israeli Air Force has said steps were taken to minimize harm to non-combatants, including use of precision weaponry and additional intelligence information. The IDF and Shin Bet will continue to act with determination to defeat the terrorist organization Hamas, which is responsible for the October 7 massacre. And before that, they have said that the IDF and Shin Bet, through the Air Force, conducted a targeted strike a short while ago against the top leadership of the Hamas terrorist organization. The leadership members who were attacked had led the terrorist organization's activities for years and are directly responsible for carrying out October 7 massacre and managing the war against the state of Israel. And now Al Arabia English, these are pictures, first shots, first stills that are coming in from Doha, Qatar. And that's it. In the distance, you can see the explosion, plumes of smoke in the skyline because of this targeted strike, where now confirmation comes that Hamas's chief negotiator, Khalil al-Hayya, has been killed in the Israeli strike in Qatar, in Doha. And Israel, the IDF, making no bones about it. They're coming out and claiming that we have actually neutralized somebody who remained a threat to their integrity, their sovereignty, and is responsible for the killing of innocent Israelis, most importantly, the October 7 massacre. Akanksha joins us with more details. Yes, Akanksha, series of explosions reported, and the IDF confirming that these were targeted strikes with the intent to minimize casualty or inclusion of non-combatants in this strike.
Absolutely, Anand. In fact, in the inputs we are receiving, particularly from, say, media outlets like Al Arabia, are indicating that Hamas's chief has in fact been the chief negotiator, Khalil al-Hayya, was killed in the Israeli strike. As you rightly highlighted, that these are targeted strikes to eliminate whatever remaining members of Hamas are. This is part of the wider operation that Israel continues to conduct. Yes, there were talks about ceasefire, but in a fresh spate of attacks, in all those explosions that have taken place, several blasts in Qatar's Doha are being reported. But remember, this is also going to place Qatar in a very tricky position, because they have been uniquely positioned to come up with the negotiations. They've been playing a very significant role in the ongoing negotiations as far as the situation in Gaza is concerned. So we'll have to see how Qatar now wants to take this forward. But several blasts were reportedly heard just a while ago, and Israeli media is also citing reports. In fact, they're saying that the attack was aimed at this particular Hamas leader, Khalil al-Hayya, who was in fact the Gaza chief of Hamas. So this is a major victory for the IDF, as they have now eliminated yet another important high-profile Hamas member, Khalil al-Hayya. We'll have to in fact see how this will shape up the ongoing war in Gaza. But it's been part of a series of explosions. We are waiting more reports in terms of who else have been eliminated.
Well, we just have Al Arabia quoting a source from Hamas has told Al Arabia, and we are quoting this report, that the negotiating delegation was targeted during its meeting in Qatar, where the Palestinian group's political bureau is based, and the target was senior leadership of the Hamas terrorist organization. The strikes happened just before 4 p.m. local time in the Katara district of Doha. Several blasts were heard. Smoke was seen rising over the Katara district in the capital. An eyewitness has told Al Arabiya. A resident living in Doha has told Al Arabiya English that they heard at least 5 blasts. Now, the Israeli Defense Forces have said that there was a series of coordinated attacks, and this was based on intelligence, real intelligence. Steps were taken to minimize harm to non-combatants, including the use of precision weaponry and additional intelligence information. Senior Hamas leadership was targeted in the strikes, and now Al Arabiya confirming that Hamas's chief negotiator Khalil al-Hayya has been neutralized in this strike by the IDF and Shin Bet, who have also come out and claimed that they are indeed the ones who conducted these strikes. How would Qatar officially react? Because it's sovereign Qatar soil, Qatari soil. But the target has been a Hamas leader, Palestinian groups, negotiating groups sitting there. These are more visuals, that are pictures that have come in from Doha around 4 p.m. local time in Doha, and that's why we see the evening sun towards the west and the slant of the sun rays and the light very clear, and the direction of the wind showing the way, the plumes of smoke because of the multiple explosions. Eyewitnesses confirming at least 5 blasts. We got to move on here on the right stand, and let's focus on the results that could come in just a short while. Yes, Nepal is a big story. We'll go to that in a bit, but there's this closer home, and it's symbolic but very, very important. Counting of the votes is still on, viewers. In the next 35 to 40 minutes, we should have the results. Numbers are stacked up clearly in favor of the NDA, but what will be the eventual number? That's what everybody is looking at, because many believe there will be a certain amount of cross-voting. Which way it happens, breaking of ranks, which way it happens, we have to wait and watch. Results will be declared. Total number of votes, 788. 7 vacant seats, effective number of votes 781. Out of these 768 voted today. That's the number that we have. 98.3%. That's the voting. 13 were absent or abstentions. BRS 4%, 4, BJD 7, Akali Dal 1. So in all, 12 members abstained, and independent 1. 13 members abstained. 427 NDA MPs cast their votes. 11 YSRCP MPs voted for NDA's candidate, Mr. Radhakrishnan. The NDA said they are expecting 40 to 50 more votes. Meanwhile, the India bloc has come out and said they had 100% turnout from the India bloc. 315 were supposed to vote. All of them have turned up to vote. That's what the India bloc has said. Now, very shortly, we would know Bharat's next vice president. And this would be a full term for the vice president, so will be from 2025 till 2030. It's not just for the interim, because Mr. Dhankar, midway through his tenure, had decided to step down. NDA is very, very confident of victory. Let's go across to Aman Sharma, Pallavi Ghosh joining us at this point. Aman, critical what the final number will be. NDA is confident it will be 30 to 40 more votes, if not more, than the number of 427. Now, if they touch 450, Aman, that means they have broken the India bloc.
Absolutely, Anand. Actually, the victory of Mr. CP Radhakrishnan is a foregone conclusion. Everybody knows that. But the real fight here is in the perception, in the numbers. The India bloc is at 315. So if they go below 315, it shows that the NDA was able to breach the ranks of the INDI bloc. If the NDA is able to add on to its numbers, 427, 428 is around the, I would say, the approximate number of the NDA bloc. If they are able to go above that, that means there has been cross-voting from the Congress side, from other opposition parties, because this is a vote without a whip. So there is a conscious voting as well, and the BJP is very, very confident that its numbers will reflect that, and that will be also, in a way, the INDI bloc will not be able to claim a moral defeat. Already, I think the big story also, Anand, besides the cross-voting which will happen, which we'll know in the next few minutes or in about half an hour, is also the YSRCP, I would say. With 11 MPs, this party from Andhra has voted completely in the favor of the NDA. The entire Andhra Pradesh, in fact, all 36 MPs of Andhra Pradesh in both the houses of parliament from all parties have voted with the NDA. This is, I think, a big development, because YSRCP, with which TDP has been at loggerheads, TDP just defeated them a year back in the elections. YSRCP coming to the NDA's fold, voting in full measure, I think is also a big blow to the NDA bloc, and the Congress has reacted in a manner saying in the morning that it is the biggest betrayal, and maybe Jagan Reddy is afraid of the CBI cases, to which the YSRCP has responded saying that these CBI cases were falsely foisted by us, by the Congress government, and Jagan Reddy will face them. He's not a man, who doesn't have a spine. So I think the YSRCP, moving over to the NDA camp, and the cross-voting, which will maybe happen, we'll know in the next half an hour, is going to be the big stories of this VP election.
Right. Thanks for that, Aman. Just stay on with us. We have Arun Dhanta joining us from Prahlad Joshi's residence. Arun, coming to you in a bit. Pallavi Ghosh also with us. Pallavi, where will this cross-voting happen? And the Jairam Ramesh tweeted saying all 315 of our India bloc have come out and voted. But do they know who they have voted for? Are they confident it's their candidate?
Oh yes, absolutely. They're super confident that all the 317 MPs did vote for the candidate. But this is a climb down from the earlier prediction and projection which was coming in from the India bloc. The India bloc actually had put a figure of around 320 to 324 votes in their favor. That clearly is not happening if you go by the admission of Mr. Jairam Ramesh. I think all along there was a little sense of worry within the India bloc that will there indeed be a cross-voting. What we are picking up and is that within 20 to 25 minutes, there could be a press conference, which is of course going to be beamed live on Sunset TV, and I think the numbers will tell the real story. But if we're going to talk about the ones who abstain, frankly speaking, whenever there have been those endless rounds, and in fact a meeting which took place yesterday also at the Central Hall in Parliament, we were very clearly told by the top sources we do not expect the BJD, the BRS or even YSR to actually support us or vote for our candidate. We do expect them either to cross over to the BJP or we expect them to actually indulge in a kind of abstention. And in actual politically speaking, because there's life beyond the VP elections, I don't think the VP elections is going to be the end of the politics which India bloc will want to play out. But there's a life beyond them, and many of them they think that it's not really worth it, that we are going to jeopardize our political equations, our political strategy as far as the state level is concerned. Before I come to you very quickly, just rattling off, for example, the BJD. They wouldn't want a BJD on their side. They would rather be a game of now the BJP versus the Congress, because they feel that BJD is very much on decline and possibly even being extinguished. On the other hand, as far as Andhra Pradesh is concerned, game is clearly TDP versus the Congress party. They don't want Jagan Reddy to even emerge as a counter, and therefore they wouldn't want to take help from YSRCP. And finally, of course, let's talk about Telangana. There also the game is going to be largely between the BJP, the Congress versus the BRS, and that's how they wanted to stay. I mean, for example, for argument's sake, if they take any kind of a support from BRS, you know what it would mean for the local leaders at the state level. So they think beyond the VP polls. When you come down to a nitty-gritty of ground politics, it would be a huge embarrassment for them if actually these parties would have ended up voting for them. That's the thinking within the India bloc.
Yes, so there are multiple compulsions, multiple permutations, combinations, but within the NDA, how is all of that glossed over? Especially with what Aman was saying, that the Telugu parties, all of them voted en masse, except for, of course, Telangana and the Congress there. And the BRS abstained. So the BRS could have said, all right, we'll go one way or the other, but they abstained. Why that? Arun Dhanta is outside Prahlad Joshi's residence. What does Mr. Prahlad Joshi have to say, Arun? It's been a long day. NDA quietly confident, and it was Prahlad Joshi who said कि जितना दिख रहा है उससे ज़्यादा मिलेगा. Where is this confidence coming from?
Well, that's right, Anand. We all know there is exercise, of course, before such big election or any big bill that the government is planning to bring in the parliament, and probably their top leaders, speak to other MPs, cross parties, and they get this sense. And of course, that's the reason why perhaps when BJP top leaders are saying this, they're expecting more than what NDA has, as when the ultimate result will come out. I think that's something which is part of their confidence now. But let me quickly show you a glimpse here. The house is of course completely decked up here. This is the entry gate. You can see, in fact, on the entry gate, you can see a portfolio of sorts of CP Radhakrishnan, what he has done throughout his career. They have pasted there outside, starting from 1974, when he first, in fact, became part of the state executive, and then, of course, going on to become the chief of the BJP in Tamil Nadu, and then of course he contested the 2 Lok Sabha elections. That too at that point in time when it was very difficult, considered very difficult for the BJP there to win 2 Lok Sabha elections, and so on and so forth. So there are multiple things which he has achieved and done in his life are actually there outside the gate. We're given to understand, Anand, that in a short while from now we'll be seeing that the Secretary General of Lok Sabha will be, of course, doing a press conference officially declaring the result, and then of course we'll be seeing CP Radhakrishnan coming here, and Prime Minister Modi is also expected to come here somewhere around 9:15.
So Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also be coming there after his tour to Himachal and Punjab, and he was here in the morning, the first to cast his vote. Aman, Pallavi and Arun, thank you. It's been a long day, fantastic work on ground covering this. But yes, the VP elections were eclipsed by what happened in Nepal, and we'll go across to that. Let's quickly go across to our guest. Siddharth Yadav, national spokesperson of the BJP, and Nikul Patel, leader of the Congress party, is with us. Namaste and Jai Hind, and thank you for your patience. And Nikul Patel, it was fait accompli in terms of the numbers were not stacked in favor of the opposition, but the eventual score will make a difference in terms of who broke whose ranks, and that's going to be critical, or whether you're able to hold on to your own flock.
See, definitely, we already know that in the Lok Sabha, the numbers are not in favor of definitely India bloc. But as what Bharatiya Janata Party and NDA always try to portray that they are not all together. But they did this election, and the number of votes that will come out will definitely reflect the picture and portray that all India bloc are together. And as what rightly Jairam Ramesh come out with a tweet that all 315 MPs had voted for our candidate, that is Sudershan Reddy ji. So I think the perception Bharatiya Janata Party wants to build will come out, and this will be just we can say that a part of further election process that are going to come down in the assemblies or wherever in the upcoming days. So I don't think that anywhere India bloc is at a loss, I think, but definitely NDA is going to have some dent that some of them allies have abstained from voting. And let's see what happens, the final result, if still what 427 claimed by NDA is going to be there or not.
But if that number touches 440, and if that number exceeds 440, that means clearly your numbers will go down from 318. So that would imply something. Siddharth Yadav, thank you for your patience. Namaste. It's been a busy day all around in terms of news, lots of developments happening across. So are there going to be some precision strikes by the NDA on the India bloc?
No, Anand, we are very confident that the number that we already have, we are going to get a bigger number than that. And definitely people are going to vote in a right manner. Our elected representatives in both the houses from across the political spectrum are going to vote in a manner which will strengthen the democracy, which will strengthen the constitution, and will strengthen the spirit of the democracy in our country. We have been very confident from day one. There was no doubt that we had the numbers. The opposition fielded their candidate despite knowing their numbers. But having said that, it is an election where merit has to be chosen over for the sake of politics, what the opposition is trying to do. CP Radhakrishnan ji definitely holds a very strong background of being a political activist, being a Sangha Karyakarta, being a member of the parliament, holding the office of the governor, his vast experience, administrative experience, and definitely once the election results are announced and he assumes the office, we would see that how once he takes the position, the office of the vice president is also going to be elevated by his presence.
If that is the case, why did BRS and BJD abstain and not back him?
No, it is, I think, Anand, for political parties to themselves decide whether to abstain or not to abstain. We would have wanted everybody to come and vote, and we would have wanted even that the opposition would also on fewer occasions definitely should cross the lines and should forget about politics and would have come together. It would have been such a nice situation if no election would have been happening. We had the numbers. The opposition could also have come together and said that we are unanimously electing, but they also did not choose so. Neither did, say, some of the other parties who chose to abstain. But whatever the case may be, It is for the political parties and elected representatives to decide and to vote. But we are very confident of one thing, that the numbers that we have, of the elected representatives with NDA, we are going to secure a victory for the vice president position with more number of votes than we already have. That is very sure, and we are very confident about it.
How do you get this confidence? Who within the opposition are you breaking? Because somebody has to break ranks for you to be able to get more than what you are expecting or projecting.
No, not necessarily, Anand. Is specifically for an election of the vice president office, no whip is issued, and elected representatives and MPs can vote for whosoever they wish to vote. We have seen in this election, and specifically of what has happened lately, just before today, before the polling has happened, the judges, ex-judges of our country also came out in response and said that someone who was projected as who was a justice in our country, who held that position, should not have gone to just for the sake of politics to somebody who is convicted of corruption. We have seen from all ranks, we have seen from everybody across the spectrum who have shown their displeasure over this. We have also seen how the Congress party today, who always speaks of, say, committed judiciary, who speaks of that no luring should be happening to any judges post they give up their position. But now they would want to place someone who was made a judge while Congress was in government, was made a judge of the Supreme Court while again Congress was in government, and now they want to place them and position him as a vice president candidate. So what happened to that? So seeing all of this hypocrisy and definitely the kind of decisions that...
But Mr. Reddy was the same person who was made Lokayukta in Goa when Manohar Parrikarji was the chief minister. So how does that make a difference?
And definitely so. And definitely so. But that does not account and that does not discount that no differences over what judgments he took or what positions he had taken in the past can be discounted or can be forgotten. If the country had to face Naxalism for next, say, 2 more decades because of the position that he took and the judgment that he gave while he was on the chair, the history is going to remember that and question him for that.
So then those questions can be asked of Mr. Radhakrishnan also, because he was supported by the DMK. Before that, he was supported by the AIDMK, depending upon who was there in the NDA. So, but this time around, the DMK is not backing him. Nikul Patel, how do you want to respond? That your choice of candidate was wrong. And did you perhaps miss a trick by not looking at an OBC or a Dalit candidate, and especially from Bihar? Did you miss, when I say did you, the India bloc?
Yeah.
Miss an opportunity there?
See, I would like to respond to my counterpart that what BJP guy is telling, that they are the people, they feel that whomsoever is contesting election against them are not good, and it's not in the interest of democratic process. They only want that any candidate put up by Bharatiya Janata Party is far having good credentials and he must be voted, all people must start voting for him, and then he should only win. That is a part of process, but that is not like that. Any candidate who is a citizen of the country, and we feel that, okay, fine, this he is the person who could be there as a candidate, we have put on him, and he is also having a good credential. He is a good citizen, he is having good, we can say that its own career and everything. So apart from all these things, the number is always going to play a role in an electoral process, because we know that Lok Sabha as well as both the houses, the numbers are in favor of Bharatiya Janata Party, so they can confidently talk about those things. But going without an election is not going a good part in the democratic process. So as a part of that process, we have selected a candidate and we try to put it in the fray of vice president, and we feel that we have done our good job, we have tried our best. And in future, that will also help us to understand the entire process and entire political environment of the country with different, we can say that allies which are there with India right now.
Siddharth, you want to respond to that?
No, I think I don't really understand the argument, Anand, that the opposition would want to just field a candidate just for the sake of knowing who is with NDA or who is not with NDA. But if that's the real reason why they have fielded retired Justice Reddy, in this election, then I think it's for them to decide whether it is right or wrong. But I think this is a case wherein elected members, the members of parliament across the political spectrum are going to vote in favor of the democracy, in favor of the constitution, with their inner voice coming out. I know that this phrase was being more used by retired Justice Reddy in his election campaign, but when the inner voice and inner calling asks you to vote more, then I'm very sure that NDA is going to score more votes and a larger majority.
You keep saying that. Now,
more
if that
margin
happens, Nikul Patel, does that mean the India bloc is divided? That the India bloc has been, the ranks have been breached?
See, already you can see the dent in NDA, and that is reflected by abstaining from voting itself. A healthy democratic process that is being.
But BRS and BJD are not part of the NDA. So where is the dent?
They are supporting it. But okay, fine. As per your okay, then it's good, fine. But I would like to say that what Bharatiya Janata Party is always feeling that nobody should contest election. That is what my friend want to convey. I don't understand why. And they don't want any democratic process to take place.
I don't want to convey this.
That is the message what I feel that you want to convey, I think. So I think you should should not choose that part in your speech that, okay, fine, they are just putting the candidate for the sake of putting it and they already know that they are going to lose the election. Here is not a matter of winning or losing, but here is to contest for something that is not good in the country, because we feel that the entire country is facing some difficulties that being not good with the present government. So as a part of a demonstration and democratic process, we have chosen our best candidate and we try to contest that election. And contesting an election is not.
So you very seriously believe, with no disrespect to Mr. Reddy, that he was the best candidate that the India bloc could have chosen at a time when perhaps the India bloc had the opportunity to not just move first soon after Mr. Dhankar resigned, to announce a candidate, but also walk the talk on the OBC Dalit card, and also perhaps capitalize on a possibility where a Bihar-based candidate could have been asked. Pressure could have been built on the JDU to break ranks because it was Bihari Asmita at stake. Somewhere, some trick was not missed. And that there is nobody else within the India bloc who you thought could be a better person for the position of the Vice President compared to Mr. Radhakrishnan. With no disrespect to Mr. Reddy. Ji.
See, now...
Okay, we're going, I think the VP results are being announced. Let's go across to Sansad TV.
From Rajya Sabha and 543 from Lok Sabha. There are 6 vacancies in Rajya Sabha and 1 vacancy in Lok Sabha. Thus, there are 781 electors. The polling for the Vice Presidential Election 2025, which commenced at 10 a.m. today, the 9th of September 2025, in room number F101 Vasudha, first floor, Parliament House, New Delhi, closed at 5 p.m. Out of the 781 electors, 767 electors cast their votes before closure of the poll, that is 5 p.m. The total elector turnout was accordingly 98.2%. Only 1 ballot box was used for the poll, which was sealed immediately after the close of poll at 5 p.m. in the presence of the authorized representatives of the contesting candidates and election observers. The counting of votes commenced at 6 p.m. The ballot box was opened in the presence of the authorized representatives of the contesting candidates, election observers, and the counting officers, whom I had appointed to assist me in counting of votes. The ballot papers taken out were first scrutinized. The valid and invalid ballot papers and 1 postal ballot paper was also received, were segregated, and the valid ballot papers were distributed according to the first preference vote secured by each candidate. The postal ballot has been treated as returned and cancelled, as the elector declined to cast his vote. 767 votes were polled, out of which 752 were valid and 15 were invalid. The quota sufficient to get a candidate elected as Vice President was determined by dividing the total number of first preference votes secured by both the candidates by 2 and then adding 1 to the quotient. The said quota was 377. As all of you are aware, the value of votes for the presidential election is 1. Shri B Sudershan Reddy has secured 300 first preference votes and Shri CP Radhakrishnan has secured 452 first preference votes. As the first preference vote secured by Shri CP Radhakrishnan was greater than the requisite quota, in pursuance of provisions contained in Section 11 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Elections Act 1952, 31 of 1952, read with Rule 35 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Election Rules 1974, I, PC Modi, the returning officer for the Vice Presidential Election 2025, hereby declare that Shri CP Radhakrishnan, Jal Bhushan Raj Bhavan, Valkeshwar Road, Malabar Hill, Mumbai, has been duly elected to the office of Vice President of India. The result is being sent to the Election Commission of India and the Ministry of Law and Justice as per the extant provisions under Section 12 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Election Act 1952 and Rule 35 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Election Rules 1974. Overall, the 17th Vice Presidential election was conducted in a free, fair and orderly manner. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the candidates and their authorized representatives for their cooperation, which facilitated early completion of the proceedings. Thank you.
So CP Radhakrishnan. CP Radhakrishnan is the next Vice President of Bharat. 17th Vice Presidential elections have concluded and that's the score. The score is on the screens. 452 to the NDA, 300 to the India bloc. And this is out of the 752 valid votes. Total votes polled were 767. 15 votes were invalid. And despite those 15 votes invalid, it's the India bloc that is at 300. The NDA, the accumulation of the first preference, second preference votes, overall the score coming to 452. Siddharth Yadav, Nikul Patel with us. We'll try and go across to our reporters also in a bit. But the big announcement coming in from Mr. PC Modi there that CP Radhakrishnan has won hands down. The NDA numbers were 427 plus another 11 by YSRCP would have gone to 438. But this number has crossed 450. It's 452. There are 15 invalid votes. Amritpal Singh's vote, which was sent by a postal ballot as per reports, has been rejected. Pallavi Ghosh now joins us. Pallavi, massive victory for the NDA beyond the numbers that it held, and it's breached that 450 number with 752 votes, final valid votes.
Absolutely, and not only that, I think the bigger story is that a huge amount, and I would say a fairly big amount of cross voting which has taken place. If you look at the figures which has been put out by the Secretary General, look at the kind of figures which have been put out. They are talking about 767 total polls which have been polled, of which 752 are valid. So there are 300 first preference votes which have gone in for Sudershan Reddy and 452 first valid votes as far as CP Radhakrishnan is concerned. And going by the rule book, the first preference votes are the yardstick on which you decide the winner. And obviously, no guesses here, the CP Radhakrishnan is the winner. Yeah. But if you remember a tweet which was put out by Jairam Ramesh a short while back, he had said that I congratulate because all the 315 of our MPs have voted. So where is that missing 15 number? Because if there are 300 first preference votes which have gone in for Mr. Sudershan Reddy, clearly it is not in sync with what Jairam Ramesh has been claiming of 315 MPs having voted. So I would say that as of now, prima facie, it's been a 15 number which has been a kind of cross-voting which we have seen.
You know, but Pallavi, 15 votes are invalid too. So is it part of the India bloc that these 15 votes are invalid? We do not know. The other thing is that there were a lot of YSRCP, 11 plus the independents who are about 15 or 16. Now, if those numbers, all of them voted en masse in favor of the NDA candidate, then that number breaches 452. That's what happens. And that too, so clearly something's gone wrong somewhere. There has been cross-voting. We don't know the exact numbers of cross-voting, Pallavi, but we also don't know whose votes were invalid. Now, is it possible that there could be certain India bloc votes that could have been invalidated? Because clearly the NDA votes seem to have all got it right.
Anand,
Yeah.
And also, Anand, let's not rule out the possibility of a deliberate invalid vote. I saw that happening in the case of many important legislations right inside Parliament. There were actually evidence to prove then when that really post-mortem was done, which I think is going to take a little bit of time for that post-mortem to come in, and I'm sure government is going to start giving out that information, that very often what happens is that MPs deliberately make a mistake because they don't want to be seen as voting against the party. They don't also want to be seen as crossing the party line or the whip, but they make a mistake. And they make a mistake because of which it is held invalid, in which case it's a win-win situation. Let's not forget, as far as the NDA is concerned, it was very meticulously taught, and there was a 2-day workshop as far as all the NDA MPs were concerned. So I would not give them that kind of a kind of a mark. I would think I would give them the benefit of doubt. I think they have been very, very meticulously trained, so they do know that what are the grounds on which their votes can be made invalid. Frankly speaking, in stark contrast, Anand, I never saw this kind of a meticulous workshop being given out to the India bloc. So that invalid factor could also be some of it deliberate as well.
We'll come to the deliberate part. You said around 15, but for Payal Mehta saying about 14 MPs have cross-voted, whether in the Lok Sabha vote, they're Lok Sabha MPs, Rajya Sabha MPs, we don't know which party, but there have been 14 MPs who've cross-voted. Let's go across to Payal and understand how this could happen, especially when there were independent candidates. There were also YSRCP candidates. The NDA said about 427. The India bloc said 315. There have been one invalid vote because of the postal vote, but 15 invalid votes. Yes, Payal, 14 MPs cross-voting.
Anand, as per the calculation, it looks like 14 to 15 MPs have cross-voted. I've got Sanjay Jaiswal with me. He's been somebody who's the chief of the BJP and has had a crucial role to play. Sanjay ji, numbers on the expected lines?
So that will you get even
Payal's audio is not very good, so he'll have to come a little closer to the screen and then speak, Payal. Let's try again.
Just give me a second. I'll hand over the microphone to...
Yeah, there. Yeah, go ahead.
I was sure that we are going to win by a major margin because the kind of person they have chosen as a candidate, he has been in a lot of controversy. And because of that, many of the MPs who were with the NDA alliance, they didn't vote for it. Many of the MPs who voted for NDA alliance, still they were very much apprehensive about the background of their own candidates. So we were sure that we will be crossing 450 marks, and we got 452.
So that's what you're saying, Sanjay ji and Payal. But who could have cross-voted, or who are these invalid voters? Any thoughts there? 15 votes are invalid.
I think that Rahul Gandhi said, please vote by your conscience. So many of his supporters obeyed him and they voted by conscience, and that's why they did the invalid voting, or they voted for CP Radhakrishnan, who is 100 times better person than their own candidate.
नहीं, उन्हें मैं वोट दूं ये हो नहीं सकता, आपको मैं वोट करूं ये मैं होने नहीं दूंगा. इस केस में are there people who could have deliberately said कि चलो क्रॉस invalid ही कर देते हैं? This deliberate invalid voting, is that possible?
Naturally, because we were having 427 votes, we got perfectly done by 1 p.m. So we were relaxed that we have achieved our goal. It was on their side where the invalidated votes happened. It was on their side where many people thought that they should not vote a person who has been, in fact, we can brand him one of the urban Naxals. So naturally, they didn't vote for him. They preferred to be a person of CP Radhakrishnan, whose integrity, whose calmness had attracted them.
So, 452, was that your expectation?
Yeah, we were sure that we will cross 450 marks because when we were talking one-to-one with our opposition MPs, even they had got a lot of resentment that why we have chosen this kind of person as a VP candidate.
Sanjay ji, one important part compared to 2017 and 2022, this is the time when the BJP was its weakest. But has NDA emerged the strongest? उस वक्त आपकी संख्या काफी बड़ी थी, इस वक्त संख्या कम है, but फिर भी margin of victory is more than 150.
We are never weakest. If you realize when we bought Waqf bill, that time also we crossed 50% numbers in Lok Sabha as well as in Rajya Sabha. So we were sure that we are going to win with a more than 125 margin, and we achieved that.
Well, congratulations, Sanjay Jaiswal ji. What happens next? If you can just quickly tell our viewers before we let you go.
Now, naturally, we will facilitate our vice president candidate. He's going to 11 Akbar Road, and we are also going there to congratulate him.
Congratulations all around, Sanjay ji. Hard-fought win, and I know there's been a lot of work at the background. Payal, congratulations. You've been able to get Sanjay ji, and also a confirmation that there has been a certain amount of cross-voting, Payal. Was this on expected lines? Who are these people? Will there be a post-mortem now? Pallavi is also with us. Just quickly taking our viewers through these numbers. 452 and 300 are clearly 152 difference between the victor and the vanquished. If you were to look at these numbers, and viewers, it's important that the NDA candidate has finished stronger than expected. What does this imply? Pallavi, we'll go to Siddharth Yadav and also Nikul Patel in a bit. But yes, Pallavi and Payal. Pallavi first.
If I take the question first, and if your question is about what happens next, well, I think there's going to have to be a post-mortem within the India bloc, because I saw this through the day, and Payal will vouch for that. The kind of the campaigning which was done by the NDA, I mean, they knew the numbers were with them. They knew it was almost given that the candidate is going to win. But a 2-day workshop with the Prime Minister being there from morning to evening, it was very clear that they take every election, even where it's a foregone conclusion, very, very seriously. But look at the India bloc. I just saw one meeting of theirs taking place yesterday at the Central Hall. Today, they were very lackluster. The campaigning was not aggressive. Rahul Gandhi was missing at the meeting yesterday. It was, to use a Hindi word, a kind of khana purti, ki we have to put up a candidate, so might as well put up a candidate and make a political statement. 15 of those numbers, who are they coming in from? I'm going to get those crunching, but I can give you the first news which is coming in by way of Congress sources is that we are going to be holding a meeting to figure out whether there has indeed been a kind of a cross-voting, and there's going to be a post-mortem of it. Some in the Congress party suspect that it could have come in first of all from the DMK as well. We'll have to wait for that official confirmation from coming in, but for now I think they're all going to be in a denial mode. But Jairam Ramesh's social media post is a very clear giveaway, saying that all of our 315 MPs voted, and I congratulate them, and then only 300. And there are only 300 first preference votes. So where are those 15 votes gone in from? And that tells the story, and the real story, if I may say so, of the vice presidential votes.
Arun Dhanta is outside Prahlad Joshi's house, 11 Akbar Road, where the action shifts to. There are celebrations going on. But Payal, this is paper ballot. Now vote chori ka ilzam to nahi laga sakte.
You know, Anand, if you remember when you were anchoring in the morning and Zaka was there, I had told Zaka knows exactly where this number really came from. You know, nothing happens in thin air. BJP doesn't leave anything to chance. You know, there are managers who've been put into the task to make sure that they make every vote count. Even yesterday also they had a detailed exercise to go through that whole drill of learning how to do mock polls as well. This is the reason why the BJP is so successful. This is the reason why the NDA is so successful. They had the polling agents right from a senior veteran leader like Sanjay Jha, to of course Shrikant Shinde, to of course Ram Mohan Naidu. They were doing their duty the whole day. But the BJP was very, very confident. I do know the member of parliament in the BJP ranks who can deliver the goods whenever the party really wants. But we should not be naming him on national television for sure. But he is somebody who's very, very reliable as well. So a big celebrations beckon today as we
But Payal, it's not about to ensure that votes are polled. In this case, perhaps did they ensure that certain votes are not polled or not counted at all? Because that's what's happened.
See, the
Votes have become
BJD
invalidated. There is no...
The BJD and the BRS have actually not voted. That's 11 of them, but 11 of YSR Congress MPs voted for them. That is the plus and minus figure. 15 votes invalid. किसके votes invalid है? ये इस पे भी scrutiny करेगी. BJP, even if they are victorious, will again, make sure that there is scrutiny to the last bit because they want to never leave anything to chance as well. So, even as we are speaking and even as, celebrations are going to begin at Prahlad Joshi's residence where all the leaders will gather together. There are floor managers who are currently doing the scrutiny right now. Arjuna Meghwal is in here. There's, of course, Murugan who's in there. Kiran Rijiju has been, active throughout the entire day. So everybody's doing calculations just to make sure that every vote is counted and every vote is valid.
Right.
That's the kind of preparation that the NDA puts up.
Right. Payal and Pallavi, fantastic job done. Congratulations. I think the action shifts. There will be celebration that will happen. The NDA has got its candidate and that too with a thumping victory more than the actual results or the projected results. So at least 14 to 15 more votes that they have polled. They were looking at about 427. They have ended at 452. You can do the math, viewers. They are comfortably home and very well so. So 11 of YSR CP that actually took them to 438 and they've been able to add another 14 to their tally while ensuring that there are 15 invalid votes. So Nikul Patel, 315, 300 and that too paper ballot. अब तो वोट चोरी नहीं बोल सकते.
Firstly, I would like to congratulate CP Radhakrishnan ji for being elected as a Vice President of Bharat. I am very stunned to listen your taunting language regarding ballot and EVM. I think that should not be discussed at this point of time because we all know that how voting is happening in this kind of elections and what voting is happening at the electoral elections that are happening at ground levels. Secondly, yes, definitely there is a dent of around 15 votes that we are finding out right now as first preference vote to Sudershan Reddy ji, and definitely that is going to affect what right now everyone wants to say, that there is a dent in India bloc.
Yes.
But I will definitely say that without going any elections, but definitely we have tried our best to put a candidate with the best qualification, education and his credentials. But ultimately it's a winning and losing of elections and we have lost today again. But that doesn't mean that we have lost our, we can say that motive or our enthusiasm to fight against the present government.
No, but I appreciate the magnanimity, but you would also appreciate that if there are votes that have been invalidated, that is a serious issue. Along with cross-voting, yes, but votes that have been invalidated and if it has happened within the India bloc, that really brings your the entire numbers down. Siddharth Yadav, congratulations are in order for the NDA, the BJP for managing and again emerging stronger when the BJP is at its weakest in terms of the overall numbers in the last 11-12 years. But would you take this victory at 452 or would you want to know if there was anybody from the NDA who perhaps had an invalid vote or cross-voted?
No, I'm sure, Anand, with passage of time, all such details will come out. But I think I'll take this first opportunity to congratulate CP Radhakrishnan ji for being elected as the Vice President of our country. It was an anticipated victory, a much required victory. Definitely, the people were also having the same aspirations as were the elected representatives. We were very confident that we'll cross the 450 mark. We did so. We have achieved the 452. Definitely details of who deliberately invalidated their vote or who cross-voted will come out. And I think it is more for the media to investigate.
How will this detail come out when it is supposed to be secret?
I'm very sure, and that is and Anand, that is why I said it is more for the media to investigate and do post-mortem of such things and quote your sources of who invalidated their votes and who cross-voted. But for the time being, definitely it was a secret ballot, and the final tally is in front of us.
Right.
452 for NDA. CP Radhakrishnan ji is going to be the next vice president. Much
Right.
congratulations to
Justice Reddy has just penned a
definitely
note.
to the,
Justice Reddy has just penned a note. Today, the MPs have rendered their verdict in the election for the office of the Vice President of India. I humbly accept this outcome with an abiding faith in the democratic processes of our great republic. This journey has been of profound honor, offering me the opportunity to stand for the values that have guided my life: constitutional morality, justice, and the dignity of every individual. Though the result is not in my favor, the larger cause we have collectively sought to advance remains undiminished. The ideological battle continues with ever greater vigor. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the leaders of the opposition parties who made me their joint candidate. Our democracy is strengthened not by victory alone, but by the spirit of dialogue, dissent, and participation. I remain committed as a citizen to upholding the ideals of equality, fraternity, and liberty that bind us together. May our Constitution continue to be the guiding light of our national life. I wish the Vice President-elect, Shri CP Radhakrishnan, the very best as he embarks upon his tenure. Signed, Justice B Sudershan Reddy. Going across to Arun Dhanta, celebrations all around there at 11 Akbar Road, lots of pomp and fare. What's happening next? When is the Prime Minister expected there? Arun?
Well, see, Anand, the celebrations have started here. Let me quickly show you a glimpse that on the both sides of the two gates of Prahlad Joshi's residence, you can see these dhol nagadas, and people are standing there. Two special places have been allocated to that, and in a short you can see the entire road has been sanitized, which means that you will be seeing that ministers and MPs will be reaching here very shortly to the Prahlad Joshi's residence. And then of course Prime Minister Modi is expected to reach here, Anand, somewhere around 9:15. That's what we are given to understand. So you can see that celebrations have already started, as we just heard the results being declared by PC Modi, Secretary General, and also the returning officer of these polls. 452,
right,
of course, is the number which CP Radhakrishnan has got. And also, Anand, as Prime Minister Modi yesterday in that MP's workshop very clearly said that we have to ensure that, though our victory is very clear, but we have to ensure that not even a single vote go invalid. That's the message which Prime Minister Modi gave, and he also said that if there is even a one single invalid vote, that starts different discussions altogether. So we'll have to make sure that all the votes are valid. So 427 is the number which is with NDA, and then of course with 11 of YSRCP, and then perhaps we are expecting that if everything has
another 14, yes, where did it come from? That's the big question, and the BJP and the NDA will be only happy about it. Jairam Ramesh has just tweeted, and he says the opposition stood united for the vice presidential election. Its performance has undeniably been most respectable. Its joint candidate Justice B Sudershan Reddy secured 40% of the vote. In 2022, the opposition had received 26% of the vote in the vice presidential elections. So they are trying to count the 14% bump, the opposition looking more robust now compared to 2022. The BJP's arithmetical victory is really both a moral and political defeat. Ideological battle continues undiminished. So similar to Lok Sabha 2024, they're looking for victory in defeat, whereas they're trying to show the NDA victory as a defeat in victory. Meanwhile, their Congress internally is also going to now introspect. Where did these votes get invalidated? And they believe it's the India bloc ally DMK that may have happened. These are pictures coming through, live action happening. Amit Shah, the Home Minister, also present now at 11 Akbar Road. We could see the traditional safari that he travels in just pass by along with the cavalcade. He is there. Arun Dhanta will confirm that. Yes, Arun.
Well, see, Anand, we haven't seen Home Minister's cavalcade as yet here, because I can see both the gates from where I'm standing. But I don't see on my camera that Amit Shah's cavalcade is entering. But of course, you can see the celebratory mood here outside the home of Prahlad Joshi. I mean, I'm trying to locate the cavalcade of Home Minister Amit Shah, but I don't find it right now. Probably he'll be reaching here very soon. But
right, so he's not yet there, but I was given to understand somebody's spotted that. But Mr. Amit Shah has actually tweeted. He said, and I'm going to read that as we get into a break. Congratulations to Sri CP Radhakrishnan ji on being elected as Vice President of India. I firmly believe that your sagacity as a leader who has risen from the grassroots of the society and profound knowledge about administration will help us in bringing out the best in our parliamentary democracy to serve the marginalized. I extend my warmest wishes to you for your journey as the custodian of the sanctity of the upper house at CPRGUE. That's his X handle. Congratulations to the Vice President-elect. We're going to take a very short break and come back with more. Stay with us.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Joining us here on CNN News 18, huge story breaking in the neighborhood. The Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, who's been a sort of a semi-permanent fixture in Nepali politics over the last 30 years, he has now tendered in his resignation. His current government, I think this is his third stint in power, his current government, which was an uneasy coalition between him, the Nepali Congress, and a section of the Maoist party. It was an uneasy coalition that had been in power for the last year or so now. And now, given these massive scale protests that we've seen, led by young people, the trigger being, of course, the social media ban, but it goes far beyond that. Issues of corruption, unemployment, privileges, dynastic politics, curbs on young people speaking their mind, all of this sort of came into a deadly cocktail. It came into a deadly combination, which finally ended up consuming the current Prime Minister, Mr. Oli, who has tendered in his resignation. The latest information that we have is that Mr. Oli has been given safe escort by an army chopper. Him and his immediate family members have been taken to an army barrack where they will be kept for some time. CNN News 18 broke this story first to you. We were the first ones to tell you that Mr. Oli has put in his papers. He has officially sent in his resignation to the Nepalese president, Mr. Paudel, whose resignation has now been accepted. At 12:05 p.m., we told you about Mr. Oli planning to step down. It was clear earlier this morning itself. The RSP party quit, 4 ministers quit. The writing on the wall was clear as day to the Nepalese Prime Minister that he's fast losing support and he needs to step down. At 2:16 p.m., officially, KP Sharma Oli, Prime Minister of Nepal, put in his papers and stepped down as Prime Minister after being given safe passage by the military, an assurance of safe passage by the Nepal Army Chief. Let me go across to Darshan, who's a Nepali journalist, who is joining us live from Kathmandu. Darshan, so Mr. Oli, the long-serving Prime Minister of Nepal, has finally quit. Do we know where he is? He's apparently been taken in an army helicopter to some safe passage. And what happens next, Darshan? Who becomes the next Prime Minister? What is the next government going to be like? Is there any word about what is happening?
So there is a lot of protest right now. Like though I'm in a safe place right now, I can hear a lot of screaming and the cloud which is filled with the smoke. So I'm not sure which are the buildings that has been into fire, but yeah, the PM Oli finally resigned. But it's not about a new government. It's a generational war. Like I mentioned earlier, Gen Z are like crazy, and there is also a lot of riots that's happening. And there is no one to take a lead at this time. But Gen Z are also, looking after Balin to come forward to control this chaos. Because right now there are protesters inside parliamentary building, inside the Singha Darbar, where all the ministries used to handle their places, and there are also many data centers that have very critical information. And right now there is no presence of the government in the street. Nepal police and APF have already said that the situation is not in our control. So, it's chaos everywhere.
So tell me, where is the Nepalese army? Are they protecting these sensitive installations, the parliament building, the secretariat, the houses of various ministers? We're told that military choppers were sent to some of these houses to evacuate the ministers. what is the latest in terms of, how this story is unfolding there, and what are the demands of these young people? Because it started with the social media ban, but it seems like this is pent-up anger for a number of reasons, from corruption to unemployment.
News 18 Primetime Studio, presented by Schneider Electric Smart Home Solutions.
Good evening, you're watching Brass Tacks. I'm Dhaka Jacob. We're coming to you live from the CNN News 18 Primetime Studio, presented by Schneider Electric Smart Home Solutions. India now has a new vice president in CP Radhakrishnan. He won the election with a thumping majority, securing 452 votes, while his main opponent, Justice B Sudershan Reddy, garnered just 300 votes. From the way the votes have been polled, it is clear